Are you looking to leverage the latest and best ideas to grow your advisory business from the best minds in the industry? Join us every Wednesday at noon Pacific for our speaker series, featuring dynamic guests sharing real strategies for real results. Brought to you by The Best Notary, where we help estate planning attorneys grow their business with less stress and more success.
I am so glad to be hosting this series to add to our trusted advisors' wealth of wisdom and ability to best serve their clients and also themselves to be able to get more business so they can succeed. Today, I'm happy to bring to all of you Angela Dunz, who is my friend, colleague, and fellow provisor. I'm a bit of on a provisor's break, but we met through provisors years and years ago, back in February of 2020, right before the pandemic hit. Angela was presenting at HR West and about video content marketing. And since then, we've gotten to know each other, and I've witnessed many of her amazing presentations. Angela calls herself the accidental entrepreneur, having moved to the San Francisco Bay Area with a shiny new MBA and dreams of becoming a CMO. Instead, she started her own business, and Angela shares her expertise in business development, professional branding, visibility, and optimization on LinkedIn. Without a website, she built her entire vibrant business using free LinkedIn, not even paying for premium. She's a former rock climbing guide and lives in Marin, where she the hiking and the weather are fabulous. Being from Wisconsin, she's a diehard Packer fan and shareholder. Wow, I didn't know that, Angela. Got to get me on some of those, some of that stock. So without further ado, I present to you Angela Dunz.
Good afternoon, everybody. And I want to leave plenty of time for Q&A. So I'm going to dive right into the PowerPoint presentation. And as Leah said, if you have questions, make sure that you ask them in real time. Usually, if you wait until the very end, that question has kind of lost its meaning. So ask them in real time. Just sort of interrupt or raise your hand, and Leah will monitor that for me. So we're going to talk about what can you do on LinkedIn? What is that playbook for success for 2025? And so the first question I'm going to ask you is, how would you rate your profile? Does it need work? It's generic. It's unclear what you do and who you are. Is it average? There's great basic information, but it's not buyer focused. Is it strong? You have a great about section and it speaks to your audience. Or are you in the elite class? Would you put yourself there? I don't think I would put myself there. I don't know if I'd even say I'm strong yet. There's room for improvement. Next question I'm going to ask you is, how big is your network? I recently posted something about network math on LinkedIn and got a lot of comments from that and direct messages. It's really interesting. So related to that is, how much time do you spend on LinkedIn? So there's a poll up. Go ahead and answer how much time you spend on LinkedIn and how big your network is. So do you spend 10 to 15 minutes a day or more on LinkedIn? I know a couple people on this call that do. Do you check in 2 or 3 times a week? Once a week, a couple times a month, or a couple times a quarter? What's your answer to that poll question? And then the next one is, how big is your network? Are you less than 500 connections? Is it 5 to 1,000? Are you in that 1,000 to 5,000 range, or 5,000 to 10,000 or more? Once you get to 30,000, you're considered a influencer, and you can only have followers, not direct connections anymore. So how are you doing on the poll, Eli? How many people have answered it? Are we at 80% yet?
Got about 17 people have participated. Looks like the vast majority of people are spending 10 to 15 minutes a day or more, at 61%, with 28% doing one check-in 2 to 3 times a week. When it comes to size of network, the biggest cohort is at 1,000 to 5,000. We've got some networkers in the room.
That's good.
28%, 500 to 1,000, and then about 22% less than 500 first-degree connections.
That's awesome. That's really great. So it's really fun in these kinds of events to find out where's the range, where's everybody else at on this stuff. So thank you so much, Eli. That's fantastic. Now, why does the size of your network matter? There's this thing called the strength of weak ties, and usually our biggest opportunities come from our weakest ties. So really having a big, broad network of referral partners and connections is definitely to your advantage. Now, at any given time, there's only 1% of your network that needs you. Now, if your network is only 500, or if it's 5,000, I'm seriously going to go with the odds for the 1% of 5,000 rather than 500. So the size matters. I never get results from LinkedIn. I hear this from people all the time. And there's the poll results. That's awesome. Everybody take a look at that.
Awesome.
And then this is what I hear all the time when I go to networking events is I never get results from LinkedIn. And I really think this is a problem of expectations and also a problem of really knowing how LinkedIn works. There are not cash registers that ring on LinkedIn. You are not going to seal the deal on LinkedIn. It does happen, but it's extremely rare. You have to get somebody off of LinkedIn and into a trusting relationship with you for anything to happen. Now, someone can look at your profile 7 to 12 times while they're thinking about doing business with you before they ever pick up the phone and actually reach out to you. So they are using LinkedIn as part of that client journey. You just really have to think about how are they using it, and is your profile up to snuff? Is it telling them what they need to know to really develop relationship and trust? So here's a really interesting fact from the American Bar Association. 94% of attorney referrals look at the LinkedIn profile first, not the website. I mean, if you've looked at a lot of attorney websites, you know that they aren't that great. I just found the first really great attorney website a couple weeks ago. It's for an IP firm down in Southern California, but for most of the attorney websites don't give you the kind of information that really develop trust and let you know who this person is. Your LinkedIn profile, if it can help develop trust with you as a person, somebody that has values and cares about their clients, it's going to grease the wheels for opportunity much faster. It's going to make you a rainmaker. If you can use that 2D platform to develop trust, you're way ahead of your competition. Now, do you think this is probably true for people other than attorneys? I'm going to guess that it's 94% or higher, especially if you're a coach or a consultant. Websites are not as important as they used to be, and they're harder to find because of the way search is right now. So your LinkedIn profile is your primary piece of the client journey. So today, I really want you to think about shifting your mindset. This is my biggest goal for you in this presentation, is to change the way you think about LinkedIn. So in those 10 or 15 minutes a day that you're spending on LinkedIn, you're doing the right activities to really move the needle forward.
So I have a question for you, Angela.
Yes.
Why are we even talking about LinkedIn? I mean, isn't it sort of stodgy? It's sort of boring, ho-hum. Aren't businesses getting more traction on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, like all the other things?
It really depends. I mean, I do know a few attorneys that are killing it on TikTok, but that is not the norm. Usually, if you're an attorney, the only platform that you're on is going to be LinkedIn. Now, there is only one platform on the planet that is B2B. Everything else is designed as B2C. LinkedIn is a B2B platform. That's the purpose. At its inception, it was designed as a searchable Rolodex to connect the right people for the right opportunities. Now, here are some interesting facts for you. The pandemic changed everything, and that's an understatement, right? Pre-pandemic, 30 to 40% of the activity in the newsfeed on LinkedIn was baby boomers. And they were the self-appointed police of the newsfeed. You know, if anybody did anything or said anything that was inappropriate, they would shame you off of the newsfeed post haste. Right now, the reality is globally, 60% of the membership on LinkedIn is age 25 to 34. These people are at the very beginning of their career. Do you think that they have the professionalism, the discretion, there's a whole lot of words I could use to describe where we're at the pinnacle of our careers. We look at things differently. And so those younger ones have a lot to learn before they hit our standards. So in our individual networks, we are not going to see a lot of the 25 and 30-year-olds. We're going to continue to see people who are aging just like us and at the pinnacles of their careers. But there is a huge transition on LinkedIn. It's getting younger every single day. Great question, Leah. That's a great point there.
I'd like to also just poke out what you just mentioned regarding generational dynamics. I want to kind of represent from slightly younger crowd. I'm actually what they call a geriatric millennial. And the big difference, I think, in aptitude and acumen is really people who had started their careers prior to pandemic and people who started their careers during and after pandemic. And it's more about decorum, manners, etiquette. It's just learning. It's just learning. There are code words we use with each other. I'm sorry to hear that you broke your hip, Kimberly. That's really horrible. But there's a language that we use, and there's a language other people and other generations use that's different. So I just kind of want to speak up.
I'm certainly very, very glad that I wasn't on LinkedIn in my 20s and 30s. I'm going to be really happy about that. I mean, how do you get experience? It's by being kicked around a few times in the business world. It's, losing a job once or twice. It's having some disappointments. It is not, it's not a bed of roses. And the only way to get that experience is to get out there and do things and take risks and put yourself out there. So the only way they're going to get that experience is by being on LinkedIn and learning from the rest of us. And you're right. I feel terrible for anybody that started their career during the pandemic. What a handicap, because they probably did not get the guidance and the mentoring that they deserved.
If I could add to that, Angela, real quick. So I'm a very active LinkedIn user. If you go on the LinkedIn app in the video section, it literally looks like Instagram. And so for me, I see a ton of those young folks bringing their videos from TikTok over to LinkedIn, and LinkedIn loves those short format videos. So it's definitely a growing trend to be on the lookout.
Well, and things are changing. April 28th, the new algorithm report is coming out. And so I've attended a couple of sessions where they're leaking some of the information from the new algorithm report. Performance of video has dropped by 300%. And most people are suspecting that they're going to drop that Reels feature on LinkedIn on your mobile phone. They've had nothing but trouble with that and a lot of complaints about it being too loud, too Instagram-ish. I tell you, every single time I speak, people ask me, is LinkedIn turning into Facebook? And I hope not. But has the etiquette in the newsfeed loosened up since the pandemic? Dramatically so, for the good and for the bad. So we kind of have to take that from both sides. I mean, the thing that helps me develop trust for another individual is, are they being authentic? Or do they have this business persona that they are projecting that really doesn't allow anybody in? And you really can't figure out, who is this person? Can I really trust them? Or is there a really big wall or barrier in between me and them? And that is not conducive to business. So a lot of us have let down some of those barriers on LinkedIn, and there is too much and not enough. And you see plenty of that in the newsfeed. Anyway, I'm going to dive back into the PowerPoint and we'll carry on with that. I really want you to get this. LinkedIn is not a direct conversion tool. You aren't going to hear cash registers ring on LinkedIn. You really have to reframe the way you think about LinkedIn and decide what kind of a tool it is for you and your client's journey. So I think of LinkedIn as being a networking tool. It is for relationship building. It's for establishing your credibility. Here's a big one. You want to be staying top of mind with your referral partners because usually when they need somebody, it's in the moment and it's the last person that they talked to or saw some content from that is top of mind when they have a referral to give. You want to provide clarity about who you serve and the problem that you solve. Right now, there is so much disruption in every single industry you can imagine. So industry updates are fantastic. Tell me what's going on in your industry. Keep me informed. I really appreciate that. That adds value. And then also for brand recognition. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. So Eli, thank you so much. And Leah, thank you for having me at the Trusted Advisor Speaker Series. I love doing this. I love helping my fellow provisors. And we've already done the first poll, so I'm going to skip to what we're going to cover today. We are going to look at what does it take to have a really great above the fold. And we'll spend a little time with the headline. Personal branding is probably the most misunderstood thing on LinkedIn. And it's really interesting. I belong to one of the marketing groups inside of Provisors, and we did a survey last November. And now, mind you, this is 400 people who are all marketers. And you know what the number one thing they wanted to learn about was branding. There is so much misunderstanding about what branding really is. Is it a logo? Is it your brand expression? Is it that reputation that you have when you're not inside the room? There's so much to branding. So I'm going to unpack it a little bit and how it applies to LinkedIn. I'm going to tell you what the number one mistake is on LinkedIn. We're going to do a breakout session and work on stories and content for your clients. We're going to talk about who's in your network. When was the last time you looked at that? And if we have time, I have some bonus content at the end that will help you with stopping the scroll with your content. So above the fold, what does that mean? What is that? So here is an example of the above the fold view. Now, with this particular view, you get 5 seconds to make an impression. People have that much patience these days. 5 seconds, whether they can find what they need to see or not. Now, I work with Baker McKenzie a lot, and most of their headlines say partner at Baker McKenzie. They don't even give you a practice area, so you really don't know how that person can help you at all. So you really want to make this client focused, and you want to make it well branded and gorgeous so people spend more time. Now, the goal of this photo is to create some kind of an emotional connection. So if you are in the Bay Area, we love Embarcadero. It's just one of the things, and all lit up at night, that's really pretty. And he's got his branding from his company on there as well. So how does this play out? I'm going to actually count down 5 seconds after I pull up the next above the fold view. And I want you to really kind of study it and think about what it is that you remember from this profile. So are you ready? Here we go. 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And what do you guys remember from that specific profile? Anything stand out? Any piece of information that was useful to you from looking at that profile?
Would you like people to unmute and just speak up, or would you like
Yep, go ahead and just blurt it out.
I was trying to define who he was. And is he M&A? Is he advisory? I couldn't determine that.
It looks
He's
like we
actually,
agreed on that formation and exit.
yes. Oh, you caught that. That's great. Yeah, he's a business contracts attorney. So yeah, sometimes it takes an awful lot to figure out. And here's the thing. If you make me work super hard to figure out what you do, I'm on to the next profile. You don't want to make it too clever, too cryptic, or to make people read your entire profile just to figure out what it is that you do. You want to make it super easy. You want to make it client focused. So let's dive back into the PowerPoint presentation. What you want to do is the first impression is really what you're shooting for. Do you look likable? Do you look trustable and approachable? And what is your title or role and location? Those are some important factors. So best practices for the photo. You want to have a neutral background. That is one of the biggest mistakes people make with their photos, is there's a very distracting background. Now, with all the tools out there these days, Canva and so many others, you really want to make sure that you have a neutral background, that it's not distracting. You want to make sure people can see your eyes. That is where trust and relationship is established. Head and shoulders only. None of those full body things, because I can't see your eyes. It's too small. And you want to make sure that it's appropriate professionalism for your industry. You know, attorney standards are very different than if you're in marketing. But I certainly wouldn't wear a hoodie on LinkedIn. There are still standards that need to be kept. So here's one of the shocking things that I find out from my clients. 85% of my clients have the wrong email address in their contact information on LinkedIn. How are you going to drive business if you have the email address from the last position that you held, or it's chocobear19@gmail.com or something like that? Here in the Bay Area, we're really judgy about that. So make sure you have a professional email address in your contact information. So we already went through poll number 2, and now we're going to talk about headline best practices. This is a really great opportunity for you to be client focused in that above the fold view. So here are some questions that you want to answer with your headline. You're not going to be able to answer all of them, but shoot for at least 2 of these. Who is it that you serve? If you have a specific target audience, what is the main problem, the entry-level problem that you solve? I have a friend that works for New York Life, and so, of course, life insurance is their entry-level product. So that's who you're talking to, is people that are looking for life insurance at whatever stage in life that they are, or those life transitions. You want to think about that entry-level problem that you solve. What are the results that people will enjoy from working with you? Those things that make you different and stand out from the competition. And then also establish credibility if you can. If you're an author, if you're a keynote speaker, those certifications, those are really important in some industries. So this is what I think is the best headline on all of LinkedIn. This is Peter Pierce. He is an appellate attorney. Win your appeal in trial court with a certified appellate specialist. I collaborate with trial attorneys and clients to set the stage for success when handling your appeal. Now, so many people that I see on LinkedIn have this laundry list of 18 things that they do, and our brains break after we read the third thing. We don't read the whole thing. This headline reads a little bit more like a success narrative. Of course, you're going to develop some sort of a relationship with Peter. He's telling you a story in his headline. And he went for the outdoor California appeal with his banner. He loves hiking anywhere in California, and he's only an attorney in the state of California. So he wanted to firmly put people's minds in California. So that's the story behind the the banner, and he has his branding for his company on there. So really excellent job. The only thing that Peter could do to improve this is this background on his photo. That I would definitely love to see him do. So now we're going to talk a little bit about personal branding, what I think is super, super important. There are 1 billion people, 1 billion people on LinkedIn. It is the smallest platform out there out of all of them, but there's still 1 billion people all competing for people's attention and business on LinkedIn. So my question is, how are you going to stand out? And you could guess that the answer is personal branding. So you really want to spend a little bit of time building your personal brand. So here's just some statistics to inspire you to do this. If you get a cold lead, somebody who comes through your website, somebody that you've never met before, somebody they don't know you at all, the conversion rate on that is 1.7. It's pretty small. Warm introductions, the conversion rate is 14.6. That's a lot higher. Now, the touches that you need to nurture those relationships, it's 20 to 50 with a cold lead. With a warm introduction, it's 5 to 12. That's a lot more doable. So,
can we spend just a second defining terms here? What qualifies as a touch? What's a nurturing touch?
it could be a lot of different things. And I'm going to say that there is a difference in quality depending on whether it is a digital touch or if it is in real life. So if somebody sees you speak somewhere, if they get an email from you, if they're on your newsletter, if they see a piece of your content, if they visit your website, they run into you at a networking thing, they run into you at a provisors meeting, those touches all count. And some of them are of much higher quality than others. They can see an email with your name on it. That doesn't mean they opened it. And even if they opened it, it doesn't mean that they read it. So there is definitely a difference there, but touches are many, many things. And here's the interesting fact. 67% of the client journey occurs without our knowledge. So what is that information that they're seeing out there about us? Are they Googling us? Oh my God, when was the last time you Googled yourself? And you really want to think about what is it that people are finding. I heard last month that you can actually put together a profile on ChatGPT for your business now. And it's probably a really good idea. So great question. Thank you, Leah. I'm going to dive back into the personal branding section. So this area right here, these touches, if these are all well branded and are done right, you can increase this number of conversion rate, the percentage of conversion rate, much higher. This is where personal brand really starts to make a difference on conversion. So personal brand is equivalent to trust. It's your reputation, whether that's online or in real life. It really should reflect your values, your vast experiences and specific experiences with particular industries. That's what really gives you trustability. You want to differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd. This is a very important piece of personal branding. And then recognition. Are you in the newsfeed once a week? Do people see your logo and your specific stamp on things? So I had a friend one time that I used to do a whole bunch of corporate training using Sales Navigator, LinkedIn, and Salesforce all together. And he used to say, we don't do business with glass buildings and logos. We do business with people. And luckily for most of you, you're independent consultants, you're solopreneurs. It is you they are doing business with. So you want to develop that extra special something something that you have and express that on LinkedIn, in real life, on your website, in your emails, wherever it is that you have the advantage of having touches with people. So we're ready for the breakout session. 3 people, 7 minutes, and I want you to briefly introduce yourself, 30 seconds, and then talk about what are your clients stressing out about right now, and what is a piece of content that you could share to really assist them or give them a little bit more confidence in the solutions that you have to offer.
Don't worry, everyone. We will repeat those questions and let you have those. I think we are going to get our breakouts organized and executed in just a second. Has anyone heard any good jokes lately?
I didn't realize we were, I was waiting to go into the breakout room.
We are all still here. Yes.
Okay. So no, I have not heard. I've done a lot of laughing, but not any good jokes.
Well, hearing laughter is still good these days. We could all use a little more levity. That's for sure.
All
Anybody
right,
have any
folks.
questions about what you're doing in the breakout?
I think we might have 4 people, but here we go, guys.
Okay,
Sure.
great.
All right.
As you join a breakout, just click the join button. You will be brought back when it's time to come back.
Off we go.
I am going to hang out and read what's in the chat because there's a lot of stuff.
Let's see. I might join one of these rooms. Hey, Ruben, good to see you.
Good to see you too, sir. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, of course.
I was
My
looking
pleasure.
forward.
My pleasure. I love the beard, I gotta say. It seems to be growing.
It is. It is.
I think Shirley hasn't joined her room. We got Anna and Shirley Press Dudley. Did you want to do a breakout, Shirley?
No, sorry, I'm doing my monthly report, so and listening to you guys at the same time.
Glad to have you, Shirley. And how did you find out about us, Shirley?
Through Leah.
Oh, wonderful. Leah is great, isn't she?
Absolutely, she's amazing. I'm gonna go back on mute again.
Awesome. All right, Angela. I thought you were gonna do the breakout, but it's all good. We got it all handled.
Okay.
That was great, Angela, by the way. Fabulous, fabulous. Great
All
data
right.
points. Great data points. A couple things.
More to come.
Hey, Bill, did you want to be in a breakout or? I think I'm muted, Bill. Bill's gone. I think he just joined something. Did I? I don't know. Let me see if I. How much time have the breakout's been running? I think I forgot to put a timer on it.
7 minutes.
7 minutes. Perfect.
And we're doing good for time.
Yeah, 12:36.
We should have at least a good 10, 15 minutes for Q&A, which is great because that's really where the good, juicy stuff comes out.
Yeah. User-generated questions. Mike, let's see. So, do you remember what time we started the breakout, Angela?
It was about 12:30, 12:31.
About 2 more minutes.
If they get more than 7 minutes, it's really not a big deal. The breakouts
Okay.
are great. I mean, that's how people get to network.
I'm gonna broadcast here to say 2 more minutes. I might join a room and I'll be right back, Angela.
What's that?
I'm gonna join a room and I'll be right back. I'm gonna go join one of these rooms to a little chit chat.
Sounds great.
All right. Go ahead and bring folks back in. So breakout rooms, and I'm gonna say close all the rooms. I think it does do the countdown, right? Even if I hit that close, it's gonna do like yep, it does
Yeah.
a 50-second countdown. This is so cool. Great turnout today, Angela. This was a nice second kind of event.
How was the first one?
Oh, it was like 10 people. It was like very minimal, very small, very intimate. So we're still building up. I'm sure it's gonna keep getting better and better.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's been your biggest event that you've done, Angela? On Zoom.
500.
What?
Yeah. For
500 live attendees.
yeah, for an association.
Wow, which one was that?
The Appraisers Society.
Wow, excellent. Did that lead to some business?
I mean, no, not a thing.
500 people. It's a long. You got to play the long game. Welcome back, everyone. Back to you, Angela.
Hello, everybody. Did anybody have any insights on the whole, really the best thing that you can do for your brand is to answer your clients' fears and their biggest questions. And a lot of times it's really basic information. I'm going to guarantee in the 13 years that I've been doing this, the one question that I get every single time I speak is, should I do premium or not? It's always back to the basics. You cannot lose answering those basic questions, because there is somebody out there that's going to appreciate you taking the time to really give them the kind of information that they need. so that they don't have to feel stupid and ask that question sometime when you're speaking. So the basics are really the things where you start to develop trust. Oh, okay, I was wondering about that. Whew. It's a relief. So there is no question too basic to answer. And I hope that you guys had some really great insights on what is good to share with your clients right now or your prospects. So let's go back to the PowerPoint presentation and finish up so that we can get to Q&A. So what is the number one mistake that professionals make on LinkedIn? I'm sure you're all dying to find out about that. Well, here's the news flash. It's not about you. LinkedIn is not about you. What is it about? It is about the problem that you solve for others. What is that special something that you have that nobody else has that really helps you serve your clients well?
And that is an excellent segue into what was the answer to the premium question, because I'm sure we're all kind of distracted by that. Left us hanging, Angela.
Well, yes, and I did that on purpose.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We're trying to save something for Q&A, right?
Okay. We'll hold it off for Q&A, so if everyone can be satisfied, the answer will come. But let us continue to focus on Angela's content.
The answer to that question is it depends. You know, a lot of my clients, if you don't spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, why would you just hand LinkedIn your money if you're not going to use those bells and whistles for the premium features? And the truth is, you know, in the 13 years that I've been doing this, they have stripped many of the features from basic or free LinkedIn and also from the bottom tiers of the professional, the premium. They've shoved all of the great features up into Sales Navigator. So that's what they're trying to do, is they're trying to get everybody to go for Sales Navigator. Now, mere mortals, people who are not sales professionals, Sales Navigator is a little bit much. I do have the bottom tier of premium because I look at who's viewed my profile all the time. And because I have premium, I can see who's viewed my profile for the last 90 days. Now, if you have free LinkedIn, you can see the last 5 people who viewed your profile if they choose to be visible. Now, a lot of people don't realize they're in incognito mode because that is the default. So many of them, even if you have premium, you can't see who those people are. So there's not a huge advantage to that. If they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen. And that would be a lot of recruiters and people like that also that specifically put themselves in incognito mode. The other thing that I get more invitations per month. Now, in March, every single week, I had at least 2 or 3 speaking events. So you can imagine how many people are looking at my profile. It's more than 5 at a time. And they drop off if it's more than that with free. So it was really a wonderful decision for me to upgrade to the lowest level of premium. The other thing that does for me is it gives me a clickable link, a customizable clickable link at the top of my profile. Any one of you today could go to my profile and get 30 minutes on my calendar. That link drives so much business for me. That is, and even my clients, instead of going to the website or trying to find the last email that I sent them, they go straight to my LinkedIn profile and use that link because it's just so much more convenient if they already have LinkedIn open. So those 2 things really drive business for me, and it's worth the $29, $39 a month that I pay for that at the annual rate, so it's cheaper. So that's the question, or that's the answer to that question. If you're not going to use those features, why give your money away? So the About section. What are the best practices for that About section? Now, A lot of people tell the story of who they are as a professional, and that's really important. But I want you to shift your mindset and really think about the about section as a sales piece. You want to pull people in immediately, and there are two ways that you can pull in your ideal client from the first sentence in your about section. Ask qualifying questions. Get them to start answering, actively engaging with your about section, and then tell them a client success story. You want that about section to be 100% audience focused. Like I said, the number one mistake is it is not about you. It is about the problem that you solve and the audience that you serve. Now, statistics are extremely important. We are not parting with our money very readily these days. And you have to get that ego part of the brain out of the way to have someone make an emotional decision to actually work with you and pay you. Statistics are super at getting the ego brain out of the way. They read a statistic and they're like, ooh, this is such a smart decision. Proceed. So using statistics is very, very powerful. You also want to make your profile memorable, and the About section is the opportunity for that. I mean, I tell people that I'm a shareholder, and most people don't even realize that in the NFL, there is a team that is not a franchise. It is still owned by the people. So saying that I'm a shareholder of the Packers usually is a wonderful conversation starter and icebreaker. The personalization is really, really important. Speak directly to those pain points in your ideal audience. So the way you want to really be memorable is using stories. Stories are the only thing that work right now. We are just not paying attention. We're not paying attention to blah, blah, blah. So the 3 to 5 sentence story, which focuses on the situation, the solution that you came up with for a client, and then the result. What were they able to enjoy because they worked with you? This type of client success stories are so powerful, and you should have a 30-second version, a minute version, a 2-minute version, and possibly a case study on your website. But these are the kinds of things you want to have lots in your back pocket, depending on the industry and the person who might be standing in front of you. But stories are the only thing that we really pay attention to these days. So start developing some of your own personal stories. So nurturing your network, what does that mean? What does that entail? This is something that's really important. I think, if there's one thing that you could get as a takeaway from this session today, use LinkedIn as a nurturing tool. Really start to have those touches with your referral partners and with prospects, but especially your referral partners. So when is the worst time to nurture your network? Is when you need your network, because you smack desperation. So you should be continuously and consistently working to build your network and nurture your network. And here's one of the ways that I do that. Every time somebody connects with me, without fail, I send them a welcome message. And especially if it's a really important connection. It's like, oh my gosh, I just got this great, really important connection. Now what? What do? I don't want to screw it up. So I just say a simple thank you. Thank you so much for connecting, their first name. And I say, welcome to my network. Now, if there's somebody here today that sends me an invitation that I haven't met yet, I'm also going to give it context. I'm going to say after this, I'm going to say, so good seeing you at the Trusted Advisor Speaker Series, so that 3 years from now, I can remember how we met. So giving context is a really important piece of this as well. So who is in your network? I'm going to encourage all of you to do an advanced search for your referral partners in your network. What are their titles? What are their names? And when you do that advanced search, just think about this. Who is it that needs a phone call from you? or a personal email, or you want to take them on a coffee date or out for dinner, or you should just send them a thank you card for the last referral that they sent you. Who's missing in your network? Where are the gaps? What do you need to fill in? And are you adding everybody that you meet who is a significant person, from your troikas, from your guesting, from your networking, from the events that you go to, from conferences? Are you adding everybody that you meet into your LinkedIn profile so that you can find them again in the future? The strength of weak ties is so, so important.
Angela, I hope to not offend you, but we do have only 10 minutes left for Q&A, and John has had his hand up.
John, go ahead.
Hey, Angela. Hey, thanks for that breakdown. That was really valuable in terms of like just a little template you can use when you first connect with someone. And you said give context. So like a fundamental question I have is, if it's not someone you met at an event or something, but it's someone that you're reaching out to and want to meet, would you then say, I reached out to you for this reason? Obviously you don't want to put an ask in there, but what if it was a cold person, what would you say would be the proper context message, and how would you close it out?
I usually wait. I err on the side of, giving them a little bit of space. All of us are getting pitched so much these days on LinkedIn that's the last, we have a phobia about it. And so send that message first, just thank them for connecting with you and wait a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then say, I appreciate you connecting with me because, here's what I have on my mind. I was thinking you would be a fantastic referral partner. Would you be open to meeting for 15 minutes to explore ways that we can support each other? But you want to make sure that whatever it is that you say has to be true. If you just want to pitch them, you have to come up with a backdoor way to do that. I'm really curious, what are the things that are keeping you up at night? And I do have a couple of templates for cold outreach, John, that I think you would find really helpful for you and your business.
Cool. I'd love to see it. Thanks, Angela.
You're so welcome. Anybody else have a question?
I actually do. So, I'm not new to marketing and helping people with personal brand and stuff, but some of the stuff is like, oh man, it's hitting me right smack in the middle of the forehead. It's so spot on. If you were working with someone who doesn't know anything about anything and they're really just getting started, they've never done a podcast, they've never done fancy content and stuff, what are some of the things that you would recommend? This is what you can do right now to start to learn how to do this and be this.
And I do actually have a slide for that at the very end of the presentation, and I will share the slides with you guys. But on the fly, the answer to that question is, if you do nothing else on LinkedIn, get that above the fold view to really work for you. I mean, that's important. Make sure that when somebody looks at your profile, they're not gone in 2 seconds. Now, if you do a really good job of that above the fold view, people will actually go down and read more. You earn 15 seconds. So they will actually go down and look to see if there's something in the featured section that might catch their eye, or that first line of the about section, or they may actually go all the way down to the bottom and look at your recommendations. So you want to provide things on your profile that keep people there. The longer they're there, the more likely they are to do business with you. And then the other thing that you must think about is, how are you going to stay visible? And I have 2 strategies to present to you to do that. If you're allergic to posting content, it's okay. There is another method that's even more effective. If you go onto LinkedIn 3 times per week and comment on 3 people's content, you are going to be 72% more visible.
I'm sorry, can you say that again? Those are astounding numbers.
3 times per week, 3 comments on other people's content. And it should be somebody who is a referral partner or a potential client or an influencer, somebody that just shared some really great industry updates. It should be relevant content, but you are 72% more visible by commenting on other people's content. Now, posting content for yourself is the long game. That is a really big commitment. LinkedIn rewards consistency. So if you only have the capacity to share once a week, do it religiously. That's 4 times a month. 4. Sit down. I mean, this is the beginning of the month, right? So pick the next 4 Sundays and post something on Sunday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when everybody's thinking about going back to work and they actually have time to read something. Now, what can this content be? Think about the FAQs on your website. That is a great place to start. What was the last networking event that you were at? Do you have a photo? Have you done a speaking event lately? There are so many different things that you can do. You can share an industry update. It doesn't have to be original content. You can share an inspirational quote. I mean, for heaven's sakes, these are really trying times. Lift people up. It can be so simple. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. I think people have this huge disconnect with what's appropriate to share on LinkedIn. They have a huge barrier. And it really, you know, your kid's graduating from high school this year. Connect that back to business stuff. You can share personal things and really get a lot of traction on LinkedIn if you frame it appropriately.
Thank you so much, Angela. I think we just have a quick clarification on your three comments, 3 contents. Can you just say you log in 3 times a month?
3 times a week.
3 times a week, excuse me, 3 times a week. You find one thing each time you log in and comment, and that's enough.
Three different things. This morning, I was at the doctor's office. I am not the most patient person in the world. When I'm in line at the grocery store, standing at Safeway, waiting for that person that can't find their money or their credit card, I'm on LinkedIn commenting on other people's content because it's quick and easy. So it's super painless for me. I made 7 comments while I was waiting for the doctor this morning.
So every time you log in and try to log in 3 times a week, just find 3 things to say. And
yes.
Then you get 70% boost. That's incredible. I'm sorry that we're coming up to the end of our time today. And I'm so glad, Angela, you're sharing your slides with us. We do need to come to a close, but before we do, Eli, what's our next cool thing that's coming up?
All right. I think we have an amazing presentation coming from David Eckert, the CEO of Pipeline Plus. He'll be talking about business development. He has a book that he just put out there about this topic of business development. His software combines business development automation with training in one place. See, there's videos that tell you who to reach out to, when to reach out to. So that's coming up in a couple of months, but next month is still something that we're looking to fill that spot. So if you know somebody who wants to speak, we'll be able to get them in. So thank you so much for coming, everyone. We are so pleased to have you as part of our network of trusted advisors and people that we can partner with in various ways. We'll be sending out a recording of this meeting and posting it also on our YouTube channel. I will post the link to our channel in the chat so you could follow us. And yeah. If you want to hang out for a couple more minutes, you know, we're around if you want to ask a couple more questions, but thank you so much for coming and we are very appreciative of your support.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
So, Angela, you were on a roll, and just because we have a tiny bit of bonus time, I'm curious, would you mind going to the next slide you were about to speak on?
The content stuff, is that what you were specifically?
I want all the goodies. Frankly, I'm so greedy this morning. I just want all the things. Yeah, I want to understand.
Mistake number 2 is being inconsistent. You know, as I said before, LinkedIn rewards consistency. So here's what happens with a lot of people. They see a training like this and they're all gung-ho for a short period of time, and then it's crickets for the next 6 weeks. That does not move the needle forward. So being consistent on LinkedIn is really what you want to do. So the consequences is you've set up expectations that you're going to be on LinkedIn and you're going to provide content and that sort of thing. So it's perceived as being untrustworthy when you do drop off for 6 weeks. So it's really, really important. Your currency on LinkedIn and in real life is credibility and trust. And you really want to establish that. And like I said, what I'm really trying to do is change your mindset. Now, here's something that's really important. Everything you do on LinkedIn should be one-to-one. You are not speaking to the masses. Every single post, you should have a specific client, prospect, or referral partner in mind. And it should be like a intimate one-to-one conversation. If you do this, your content is going to be much more successful. So here's the bonus content. How do you stop the scroll on LinkedIn? You start every single post with a headline. Tell people what the post is about so that they can make an informed choice whether they want to read it or not. Use a statistic. That really draws people in. Ask a question. Make a bold statement. Name your audience. Attorneys, have you ever experienced this? Name your topic or use a quote. Those are great hooks. Don't forget to add the value. Every post should only be 1 point. I see people trying to cram everything into one single post, and our brains can't handle it. If you're going to have great content, use a call to action. What is the next step you want somebody to make? You know, download our checklist, visit our website. Let's have a conversation. Connect with me on LinkedIn, whatever it is. Use keywords for your industries. Emojis is a whole nother can of worms. I'm a marketer. I love them. Attorneys don't love them. Some of them do. And you want to illustrate. This is the story piece. Don't tell people. Illustrate it with a story. So what to share? Here's a list, and this will be in the PowerPoint presentation that gets shared with everybody, but here's a really quick down and dirty list of things that you should share on LinkedIn. So the bottom line, have great curb appeal, optimize for where you want to be 2 to 3 years down the road on LinkedIn. Where are you going with your business? Are you gearing up? Really speak to that ideal client that you want in 2 to 3 years. Time factor. Curb appeal and optimization is easy. It is such a small investment of time and money, and the ROI is fantastic. Staying top of mind is the long game, and you really have to get your head straight and make a commitment to that. And LinkedIn works. How do I know that? I built my entire business on free LinkedIn. Until 2 years ago, I was not using the upgrade of the lowest level of freemium. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn. If you're interested in more content, I have a really fun newsletter. It's kind of quirky and irreverent. Lots of great marketing, branding tips in the newsletter. And thank you so much for staying the extra time. I appreciate it. Leah, did you get all the things?
I hope so. I'm just I also know that, alas, we forget half of what we've consumed within a day. And I really am so excited. This is probably one of the first workshop videos I'm actually going to watch again, because it was chock full of wonderful things. We have one last question, and this is off the beaten path of what we do as professionals to push content out. But this question is about when people connect with us, Pamela's asking, what's your recommendation on accepting connections with someone you are completely unfamiliar with, and the invitation comes without a note or reference? And I'm just going to say, I know that there are other professionals here that probably have a strong opinion on this, but let's start with you, Angela.
I recommend that everybody have a connection strategy. So, because I'll tell you, it's those micro decisions that we make every day that just burn us out, right? So you should have a connection strategy in the back of your mind. So if somebody tries to connect with me out of the blue and I can't tell from their headline who they are, I will take a quick glance at their LinkedIn profile and try to decide if they're going to sell me a website or a program that's going to make me a 7-figure coach in 90 days or less. Some of the claims are just outrageous. We can set 300 appointments for you this week. And I'm like, whose calendar are they going to go on? I'm like, I don't want 300 appointments this month. So I try to make those decisions very, very quickly. Now, my yeses are they a provisor? Are they a possible referral partner? Are they somebody that belongs to an association that could ask me to speak? Do they look like a super interesting person? And, if they're halfway around the world, it's probably not going to be a great connection. I really kind of look for that proximity, or at least within the bounds of the United States, Canada, and I belong to the Global Chamber. So I kind of move outside of that for certain things. But those are my yeses, and definitely, if you're a college grad and you're padding out your network, and there's a lot of that happening right now, they're freaking out because they're going to graduate in May. Probably not going to be the best connection for me.
Can I just push back on the international piece, Angela?
And
this is your show, Eli. Go ahead?
So I met someone who's a German based in Russia. He's a legal tech kind of a event organizer. He introduced me to like 8 people, and then one of them was a VC who actually was pretty aligned with us. Another was an attorney in Kenya who, when I was there in October, brought us into like a super swanky country club and bought us lunch, or dinner and drinks after. So never met this guy in person. He is in Moscow, which he loves it there, which is, he's a very unique person. But yeah, you never know where that connection is going to lead to. So that's why I try to just open it up and just try to find people that I connect with and I'm aligned in terms of like values and interest areas. For the legal tech space, for example, was a really aligned connection. So just wanted to say that it's a possibility that, somebody who's not physically close could still be aligned in other ways and could open up some opportunities.
And that's why I say look at their profile. If it makes sense, every once in a while you have to do some wild card activity. Otherwise, you're really not going to move the needle. I mean, if we're just going to be conservative and scared and full of fear, we're not doing good business development. You have to throw in those wild card things every once in a while just to be a badass.
Yeah, just to add to that, Ricardo Ceballos was introduced to me by a lady in Tennessee. I was aware of his firm. Scott Anderson is Ricardo's partner, but he took this intro from Julie Pinkerton to make that happen. I'm so glad you're here, Ricardo. Did you want to say a couple words about maybe what you think of all this LinkedIn business?
And also, you have a question, Ricardo.
Yes. But I don't. What are your thoughts, Angela, on this soup of letters after their person's name? I just want to hear your thoughts on that.
Are you talking about things like certifications and licenses, etc.?
There are some industries where they're extremely important. I know for HR professionals, they have to have those certifications to be able to talk about certain things. And so for them, those certifications are extremely important. Now, coaches, you would hope that whoever it is that you're going to hire as a coach or consultant has some kind of certification someplace. because it's just too easy to hang out your shingle and say, hey, I'm an expert at XYZ, and come to find out that you really don't know much of anything. So certifications can be extremely important, but be really careful about those. I mean, I learned when I did my MBA program that not all MBAs are created equal. If it doesn't include quantitative analysis, it is not at the same caliber as other MBA programs. And it seemed like all the ones that were trying to recruit me did not include quantitative analysis. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to have a real MBA, not just one of those, fast fashion MBAs.
Fast fashion MBA. I love it. Thank you so much for, again, the bonus minutes, Angela. Everyone who's watching this recording, a lot of folks dropped off at the top of the hour, but you have gotten 12 whole extra minutes of Angela's brain. So this is incredible. I will be drawing us back to a close. Thank you guys so much for joining. Eli, thank you to the Best Notary for hosting, and we can't wait for the next one. Interesting people, smart people, valuable content. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the Best Notary Speaker Series. Come join us on Zoom every Wednesday of the month at noon Pacific and 3 p.m. Eastern. Join us on June 4th for our next event, Mastering Your Inbox with Art, with highly acclaimed productivity expert Sarah Tetlow. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified when new episodes are released. This speaker series is sponsored by The Best Notary, your trusted document concierge from Maui to Maine.